Top 10 Myths and Facts about the Vaccine. Vaccines and immunization have been a hot topic for the past few decades. You've probably heard of anti-vaxxers and protests against the vaccine, along with the tons of rumors that tag along with it. Well, today, we are here to discuss these myths about vaccines and debunk them. Hey there, and welcome back to Info Junkie TV, where there's always something new to learn and satisfy your curiosity. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to learn about the most interesting and mind-blowing topics. Now, sit back, get comfortable, and let's get learning. Let's start with a little backstory about what brought about the vaccine debate. In 1963, scientists created the MMR vaccine to help eliminate measles, a very contagious viral infection that causes coughs, deafness, the measles rash, and even death. In 2000, the United States finally considered measles eliminated. However, in the last decade or two, there has been a whole wave of anti-vaxxers fighting against the vaccine, spreading all types of misconceptions about how it's a scam or how the vaccine is dangerous. The result? In 2019, 31 states have announced measles outbreaks. We've taken a look at the top 10 myths about the vaccine and the scientific facts that contradict them. Myth number 10. Vaccines have damaging, long-term side effects. Fact. Vaccines actually do quite the opposite of that. While vaccines do have side effects on some people, these are short-term and mild. Some of the side effects may include pain where the injection was, a mild fever, rashes, or malaise. However, these side effects only last for a short period of time. Vaccines go through a very long process to ensure they're safe to use on people. They're also monitored closely to make sure there aren't any risks that can come from them. The truth is, taking your vaccine will prevent the actual long-term diseases that you're better off avoiding, such as polio or measles. Myth number 9. Measles are eliminated in my country, so I don't need to be vaccinated. Fact. Just because a disease is eradicated does not mean that there's no chance of it coming back. In the current coronavirus pandemic situation, certain countries like Australia and New Zealand are nearing 0 cases on average per day, but they have their borders closed so that the disease does not come back in. In normal times, we can't expect to close borders to prevent a measles outbreak, since we already have a vaccine for that. Viruses and bacteria that cause vaccine-preventable diseases may very well be alive and circulating in some areas around the world. So, just because your country doesn't have measles anymore, that doesn't mean you don't need to be vaccinated. You may travel or come in contact with travelers. In 2018, more than 30 cases of measles were recorded in Kansas City. Either way, why take the risk when you can make sure that you are safe from possibly catching a vaccine-preventable disease? Taking the vaccine will also help in preventing outbreaks in your community. Myth number 8. Vaccines contain toxic and dangerous ingredients. Fact. Vaccines go through very long scientific trials and procedures to ensure their safety on humans. When you look at the ingredients of the vaccine labels, they may seem scary at first. For instance, many people tend to think that mercury will pose a health risk if injected. However, there is no evidence that any of these ingredients are actually dangerous, especially since the vaccines use a substantially small amount. In fact, some of these ingredients, like aluminum and formaldehyde, are actually found in the body. We also consume these ingredients in some of the foods we eat, such as mercury in tuna. Aluminum? It already exists in breast milk. Formaldehyde? There's more of it in one cauliflower than there is in all the vaccines put together. The World Health Organization has certified these vaccines as safe, which is why they are offered in both private and public clinics all over the world. Myth number 7. The MMR vaccine causes autism. Fact. Truth be told, there's absolutely no link between vaccines and autism. If that were the case, then there would be a higher rate of autism or autistic disorders in the world today. There are no scientific studies that back this myth. The first time this idea was suggested was in a paper published in 1998. However, the paper was then proved to be flawed and was withdrawn from the journal it was published in. After the paper was published, hundreds of studies have been conducted to see if the theory rings true, but no results were able to back it up. There is no connection between vaccines, specifically the MMR vaccine, and autism. If you're enjoying this list so far, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. It helps the channel grow, and it helps more people see and have access to our entertaining, bizarre, and mind-blowing content. You know, it won't take you a second. Myth number 6. The influenza vaccine gives me the flu. Fact. Many people seem to think that the vaccine can give you the same disease that it's very well meant to prevent. But we're here to tell you that this is not true. Vaccines are meant to protect you from catching certain diseases, not give them to you. Upon injection, some people do experience mild symptoms, which is maybe why people think that the vaccine is dangerous. However, these mild symptoms are just your body's way of responding to the vaccine. Some of these symptoms include headaches, but this only means that the vaccine is working. It is developing protection in your body to work towards preventing future diseases. Myth number 5. Vaccines overload a child's immune system. Fact. Many parents have been afraid of overwhelming their child's immune system by giving them vaccines. Because of this fear, 10 to 15% of infants have had their vaccinations delayed, or even worse, completely denied by their parents. But the fact is that studies have shown that vaccines do not overload a kid's immune system, even if they take more than one vaccine at the same time. The number of antigens exposed to a child doesn't account for anything. Only a small part of your baby's immune system is being used by the vaccines. Your child will come into contact with so many more germs that trigger immune responses on any average given day than they would from several vaccines combined. Even a common cold or eating food will expose them to more antigens than a vaccine would. On the contrary, getting several vaccines at once means you will have to visit the clinic less in the long run, which will be useful if the pandemic prolongs and get fewer injections. Myth number 4. Vaccines contain microchips for governments to track us. Fact. Technically speaking, injecting a microchip through a vaccine is physically impossible, which is great news for us. But unfortunately, there have been plenty of rumors going around that claim that governments want to track us with their vaccines. The same rumors have been said about the COVID-19 vaccine for when they are available. A video on Facebook went viral, opening with Bill Gates commenting on the microchip news. The video was shared over 27,100 times, causing widespread fear among its audience. We are here to tell you that this is also not true. Always fact-check what you watch or read. The video was simply edited to make it seem like Mr. Gates was sharing this piece of grim news. In the original video, Gates was actually talking about how vaccines are an example of breakthrough innovations that have helped the lives of billions of people. Myth number 3. Natural immunity trumps vaccine-acquired immunity. Fact. Just because you get a vaccine-related disease once, like chickenpox or the measles, it doesn't mean you won't get it again. Just like the coronavirus, people are susceptible to catching the disease several times if they are exposed to it. If you don't get vaccinated and you survive the disease, then yes, that does strengthen your natural immunity towards it. But that also means that you are risking yourself for a second round of the disease, some of which have very serious symptoms, like measles. This is why it's better to get vaccinated as a child and get booster doses into your adult years to keep you safe and healthy. Myth number 2. Pregnant women should not get vaccinated. Fact. It is actually very important for a pregnant woman to get vaccinated. Getting vaccinated can help prevent her from catching diseases like tetanus, influenza, hepatitis B, and pertussis. Getting the vaccine will not only help her, but will also help protect her baby from any flu-related complications or preventable diseases for several months after the child is born. Millions of pregnant women have received flu vaccines, with scientific evidence showing that it is not at all dangerous to the mother or her child. The best time recommended to get a vaccine while pregnant is by the end of October, but getting a vaccine later during flu season can still be good for both parent and baby. However, pregnant women should be wary of what vaccines they are taking. There are certain vaccines like the MMR and chickenpox vaccine that shouldn't be taken during pregnancy. Myth number 1. HPV vaccine will lead to adolescent sexual behavior. Fact: this myth is completely false. There have been several studies that don't show any links whatsoever between the HPV vaccine and sexual activity at an early age. In fact, Australia has been administering the HPV vaccine so well that they will have eradicated cervical cancer within the country sometime within the next 10 years. And that's all we have for you today, Infomaniacs. Let us know in the comments which myth blew your mind the most. Or have you heard of any other myths that we did not mention? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching InfoJunkie TV. We hope you enjoyed this video and look forward to reading your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more entertaining content. Thanks for watching, Infomaniacs, and we'll see you next time.